Ayo, welcome back to Annie Recapped. Today we'll be covering the series named Highlander, The Search for Vengeance. Be sure to subscribe to our channel if you don't want to miss out on the best animes worldwide. Now let's get right into it. The story of Highlander begins in a world that has fallen into chaos and decay by terrorism, violence, and global warming. The main character, an immortal named Colin MacLeod, is traveling in a boat through a river. He is seeking revenge and has been asked to quit by a spirit named Amargon numerous times. He stops his boat near a building to find an immortal named Malik. He scares Malik's henchmen off easily and tells Malik to not pick a fight with him, but Malik, thinking he has come to take his head for a reward, starts the fight regardless, but is beheaded in the end by Colin. This results in a quickening, which is the power that grants a person immortality. When someone beheads an immortal man, his power and knowledge are transferred to the immortal who has killed him. The quickening is detected by Marcus Octavius, who is a tyrannical leader of a post-apocalyptic New York. Colin goes to the entrance of New York City and is treated by guards. He shows the guards the head of the immortal Malik and takes the reward, but the guard wanted to take him to his leader as he wanted to thank Colin personally. Although reluctant at first, Colin eventually agrees when he is persuaded by Amargon. He goes inside the city with the guards, but kills all of them to escape. This incident was viewed by Joe and other people watching. Joe points Colin towards a bar as Colin wanted to drink whiskey. He goes inside the bar, buys a whole whiskey bottle, and sits in a corner alone. Meanwhile, a girl named Dahlia comes into the bar and is offered money for sex by a man named Freddy, who is her regular customer. Dahlia wasn't in the mood today, so she declined, but Freddy threatened to take her by force, but was stopped by Dahlia with a knife and the bartender. Dahlia then notices Colin sitting in a corner and says something to him, which reminds him of his wife from the past. In a flashback, Colin is approached by his wife named Moya as he was sitting around his army in northern England in 125 AD. Colin takes her into his tent, where Moya reminds him that he has to face the 2,000 legionnaires of Marcus Octavius with his army of 400. Moya wants Colin to run from Marcus so they might live, but Colin doesn't want to live the rest of his life as a slave and wants to die with honor and dignity. Hearing this, Moya gives Colin a drink that makes him unconscious and goes to see Marcus to beg for the life of her people by stripping naked in front of Marcus and offering her body. But Marcus still intends to destroy Colin's army. Moya stabs Marcus to death after hearing this and tries to flee, but is captured by Marcus, who came from the dead as he is an immortal. He crucifies Moya and takes her to the battle so she can see everyone die with her own eyes. All of Colin's army is defeated while he is buried under a bunch of logs. Sometime later, he wakes up and sees the bodies of his people before his eyes are directed towards Moya, who is crucified and put there. Colin immediately rushes towards Moya and frees her. Moya, with her last breaths, wanted Colin to swear to not to take revenge on Marcus, but Colin did the opposite and swore to take revenge on everyone. The scene then returns to the present, where Dahlia wants Colin to come with her as the guards might look for him. Colin didn't want to go at first, but goes when he hears the guards. Meanwhile, in Marcus's tower, Marcus is watching his immortal servant Kayala fighting a bunch of servants to practice her skills. Marcus saved Kayala in 16th century Japan. During a war, as he was going by on his horse, he sees Kayala and pulls a spear from her chest. Kayala wakes up and thinks of Marcus as a god. As he couldn't kill her because she was too beautiful, Marcus makes Kayala his servant. In the present, as Marcus was about to kiss Kayala, he was interrupted by his guard, who tells him that Colin has escaped. Marcus orders them to bring Colin to them with his head attached to his shoulders. Meanwhile, Dahlia takes Colin into the underground areas where the people who don't obey Marcus and his guards live. People lived underground so they would be protected from a virus that killed 80% of the population. There, Colin sees Joe's sister, who is also affected by the virus, but can't be treated as the tower also controls the vaccine and the people there don't have any. Dahlia then takes Colin to her apartment. Dahlia offers Colin to have sex with her for free, as most of her customers are ugly like Freddy and she rarely sees a handsome guy like him. Colin stops Dahlia, who is trying to seduce him, and asks her what she needs from him. Dahlia wanted Colin to break into the tower and steal some vaccine to help the people of the city, but Colin refuses as he doesn't care about anything else but his revenge and leaves. Dahlia chases after him to the surface. As she was going after him, Colin saw a huge screen where a video of Marcus was being broadcasted. Colin recognizes Marcus, which surprises Dahlia. The scene again shifts to a flashback where Colin is standing beside the grave of the love of his life, Moya. Afterwards, Colin goes to the settlements of the Roman people to kill Marcus. He kills a guard and takes his clothes to disguise himself as one of them. He proceeds to move towards the tent of Marcus when suddenly he suffers an extreme headache, which an immortal gets when he comes near another immortal, but Colin didn't know about that. Marcus detects him and comes outside. Colin, seeing him, gets enraged and starts running towards him while killing all the soldiers in his path, before he is stopped by a shield wall of soldiers. Marcus then comes and asks about the reason why Colin wants to kill him. Colin reminds him that he crucified his wife, Moya. Marcus challenges him to a battle, and the winner will get to live. They take Colin to nearby plains on a horse so he can do a horse battle with Marcus. At the plains, they rush towards each other, but Marcus gets the better of him and slices him in the face. Is lying on a horse that carries him and runs while Marcus chases after him. Colin is taken to Stonehenge by his horse, which is a holy ground that doesn't permit immortals to fight there. Marcus proclaims Colin lucky as he cannot strike him in the holy ground and leaves while Colin lies dead on top of a stone. Colin wakes up days later and immediately tries to kill the druid spirit named Amargon. Amargon told him about his immortality and warned him not to go for revenge, as that revenge was part of his mortal life. But Colin refuses to listen and is struck by lightning as he was holding a sword and attempting to strike Amargon on the holy ground. Colin then asks Amargon about the whereabouts of the Romans. Amargon tells Colin that the Romans aren't here anymore. Hearing this, Colin travels day and night to reach the edge of the sea, but when he finally gets there, the Romans can be seen leaving on their ships. The scene then returns to the present, where an angry Colin smashes the screen and asks Dahlia about the whereabouts of Marcus. Dahlia tells him that Marcus lives in the tower and he can't go there without her help as the security is too tight, but she knows a secret way. Dahlia offers to take him to the tower through a secret passage, but Colin has to help her to get the vaccines, which he agrees to. As they're going through the secret passage, they meet Joe, who also wants to go to the tower as his sister is dying and she needs the vaccine. On the way, a creature chases after the trio, but Colin rescues them and they reach the tower from the underground. Colin instantly attacks the guards that he saw, and they use the hand of a dead scientist to go to the lab where the vaccine is stored. They held the guards as hostages. One guard almost hit the alarm button, but he is stopped by Colin. Dahlia fired a few bullets to scare them off, but accidentally almost hit a mysterious virus. Upon inquiring, the scientists revealed that it is a virus with a 100% kill and spread chance, which revealed to Dahlia that they almost must have made the previous virus as well and were the reason for all the deaths of people in New York City, but the scientist said that he was under orders. When Dahlia asked them why they would do that, the scientists replied that it is the vision of Rome. When Joe collects the vaccine, they go out of the lab when suddenly Colin detects an immortal, which must be Marcus. He goes a separate way on an elevator to go up the tower, while Colin and Dahlia are in a battle with guards. As he was going up the tower, Amargon tells Colin that love and life mean nothing to him, as he only lives for his vengeance. Another flashback comes where Colin chases Marcus for several centuries. First, he goes to Rome in the 5th century and attacks Marcus but gets killed in the process. Marcus couldn't cut his head as the army that was attacking Rome appeared. Then he reached them in China in the 8th century but couldn't find Marcus, who left before Colin came. In the 11th century in Scotland, Colin joined the MacLeod clan and fought for them against the army of Marcus but died in the process. The clan leader held a funeral for Colin, naming him a Highlander, and buried him while announcing that from now on he will be Colin MacLeod of the clan MacLeod. As Colin is immortal, he wakes up again from his grave, which made the people think that he is a demon. As the people approached Colin to kill him, his lover named Deborah tries to protect him, but Colin pushes her away so she wouldn't be harmed. As the people closed towards him, the clan leader Gregor came and spoke in favor of him by saying that even if he is a demon, he fought and died for them and will always be Colin MacLeod of the clan MacLeod. Hearing this, Colin goes away and finds Marcus again in the 16th century Japan when the civil wars were taking place. It had been over 1,000 years of revenge and vengeance for Colin as he chased after Marcus, but he was always defeated. The last time he fought Marcus was in the World War II, where Marcus defeated him again. Colin was protected by a holy place, which made Marcus leave him again. In the present, Dahlia and Joe are pinned down by the guards, but Joe finds an emergency firewall switch. Joe rotated the switch, which resulted in a thick metal door coming down to divide the hallways. Dahlia escapes from the guards while dodging bullets and escapes under the door right as it closes. Meanwhile, Colin finds Marcus and starts fighting him. Marcus defeats Colin again and throws him from the top of the tower. Colin falls through the ceiling right in front of Dahlia, who checks after him and tells Joe to take the vaccine back to the doctor. Colin comes back to life right in front of Dahlia, who then escapes with Colin while he tells Dahlia about his whole story. Meanwhile, in his consciousness, Amargon tells Colin that he is so blinded by revenge that he failed to realize that Moya came back to him in the form of Deborah and Dahlia, but he was too blind to see it. When he wakes up, he goes to the people with the doctor and agrees to fight for them in the war against Marcus. As Dahlia thinks of this as a suicide, she goes to her room, but Colin goes after her and thanks her for saving him, and they finally make love. He leaves Dahlia sleeping and goes with Joe to the tower as he knows a secret entrance while the people fight with the reinforcements of the tower. Colin reaches the building and starts attacking the guards while at the same time Dahlia wakes up and rushes towards him. While he was fighting the guards, he was attacked by a helicopter which was piloted by Kiala. As he was getting cornered by the helicopter, Dahlia comes to his rescue and shoots Kiala in the head, which causes the helicopter to crash. As more guards come, Dahlia tells Colin to go after Marcus while she will handle the guards. At the same time, the people are fighting the tower's army. Doc fires a flare, which is a signal to attack the tower. The people seeing the signal start to fire rockets towards the tower. Colin reaches Marcus in what seems like the Colosseum of Rome. He meets Marcus, who asks Colin if he was responsible for the war between the tower and the people, but Colin says that he is the reason behind this war, and the war will only end with his death. Marcus wants to rebuild society all over again, so he pulls up a machine that contains the virus that can kill everyone within a 50-mile radius. He starts the countdown of 2 minutes before the virus will spread throughout the city and challenges Colin to defeat him before the 2 minutes if he wants to stop the virus from spreading. They start fighting with each other, but Marcus gets the upper hand against Colin and slashes him a few times, which makes him go to his knees. Meanwhile, Kiala, who is also an immortal, comes back from the dead. As Colin struggles to fight with Marcus, he is stabbed in the back by Marcus and dies while the virus spreads throughout the city. Dahlia, who was battling the guards, sees birds fall from the sky because of the virus, when suddenly Kiala, who came back from the dead, shoved 3 needles through her abdomen. Kiala proclaims that everyone will die except her and Marcus, but Dahlia wants to take her along with others to death, so she pulls the pin of a grenade and shoves it into her mouth. Before dying, she promises Colin that she will meet him again one day at another time. Colin, feeling the death of Kiala, comes back from the dead and starts his fight with Marcus again as Marcus vows to cut his head this time. They cut each other a few times, but Colin strikes and manages to cut Marcus's head once and for all, which releases the quickening that destroys all of his guards and the tower while also eradicating the virus. The people of the city are finally free from the evil reign of Marcus. Colin, who is standing on top of the broken tower, is congratulated by Amargon for finally winning, but Colin says that it's too late as the love of his life is not with him after all this time. But Amargon tells Colin that it wasn't all a waste, as the people of the city are saved from the reign of Marcus and the virus, which will allow them to finally be free for once. Amargon also tells Colin that Dahlia's prayers were heard before she died. As Colin leaves the city, Amargon hopes that he has found his peace and says that what he has lost shall one day be found. And that would be it for today. What an anime that was. If you enjoyed it as much as we did, do leave us a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this on your feed. Peace.